Hello, I am Dee from Embodied Sexuality Tarot. I'm a spiritual practitioner and certified Reiki master. Here on this channel, I like to bridge spirituality and practicality as it relates to improving connection with body and spirit, connecting with self, and also helping to connect with others, okay? Because when we feel good about ourselves and our relationship with our body and spirit, then that translates into our other relationships, okay? So I really want to support people on that part of their journey. Before we get into it, this is, I make jewelry. You might have seen that in the intro. So on my Ko-Fi shop, you can get some jewelry or other items I might have there. And that's also where you can book a reading. Or there's some pre-recorded readings there as well. All right, only through Ko-Fi. And if you feel called to by any of these messages that I share or other messages, just my content in general, you can tip me on Ko-Fi as well. So everything that you need is right on Ko-Fi if you want to interact with me or anything like that. Okay, so what is this reading? This is just going to be me tuning into advice and support for your relationships. We're going to do romantic relationships today. So yeah, on this channel, I focus on romantic, platonic, familial, just different types of relationships with body, spirit, and outward, just anything, because our connections are can be very powerful, for our time on earth. So anyway, this one's going to be romantic relationships. Let's get going. Anything that needs to be heard and honored, advice, support, what's going on, confirmation, just what needs to come through. Okay, there's a song, dun, dun, dun. It's T.I. That's how all my partners roll, 24. Okay, so, I don't know what that's saying. Maybe you listen to hip hop or somebody that you date listens to hip hop. But I don't think the message is about that. It's more about just kind of like riding together. It kind of feels more of like a ride or die type of situation or bond rather. Like you could be whatever person you're tuning into for this reading. It feels like a very, very close connection. It could be somebody that you've known for a long time. And if you haven't known them for a long time, you might just have gotten to know each other very quickly. Okay? All right. We have Six of Swords here. We have Four of Cups. That's how all my partners roll. I do feel like, so with the Six of Swords, I feel like there's some sort of realization or acceptance about how somebody is. So like in that song, like I just said, that's how all my partners roll. And it just kind of feels like, okay, this is what we're used to. This is our culture. This is the way that we were brought up. You know what I mean? So with the Six of Swords, I just feel like this could be you or somebody that you're interacting with. But there's this kind of acceptance or navigation around, okay, kind of accepting the unhealthy traits or the past that has influenced them, trauma, so to speak, or things that they're carrying, that they're walking with. So yeah, I see that. And yeah, there's just this kind of acknowledgement in a way as well, where it's like, yeah, this is what you're used to, and that's what you're used to, that's what you're walking with, and this kind of situation of trying to do something different or move forward from that. So Six of Swords, make sure you guys can see that, sorry about that. Six of Swords, is this card of like going through trials and stuff, and then usually it has a rainbow on it as well. So I just feel like whatever period you're in with this relationship or with this person, I feel like you're seeing more of their shadow side, but you also see like their potential. And again, flip it whatever way it is. Maybe this is you or maybe it's them. But I just feel like, there's a shadow period going on right now. And I can also see that with Four of Cups at the back of the deck here. We're just kind of, and also these Three Cups too, this can be like past relationships, and then there's this one cup here being offered. So I definitely see like with whatever kind of connection this is. Oh no, I said romantic. We're tuning into romantic. But anyway, so I don't need to be so general. I'm used to doing that. But anyway, so for your romantic relationship, I just feel like this person or you have been used to a certain type of cup, a certain type of person. And so this new one being offered in is different. What else with that though? So, I mean, they're different. It's not what you're used to. And I feel like the way that they're different, they're highlighting certain traits in you or certain culture in you or, vice versa. And it's kind of, I feel like it's putting like a magnifying glass on you to kind of force you to leave things behind, right? Okay, yeah. So it's like, yeah, you dated this type of person or you're used to this type of person, but being with this new person and interacting with them, in order to interact with them in a way that is, healthy or productive for you guys or whatever, you have to kind of let these things go and move forward to the rainbow. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Okay, what else with this? Willpower, financial security. We also have Queen of Pentacles at the back of the deck. What else do we got? One more. Impatience, confidence. Okay, so we have the willpower card. You could be dealing with a Taurus, a Aries, fire sign, earth sign. You don't have to be, or you could identify as that. But I just feel like maybe somebody in this connection has been, maybe it just started out kind of fast, especially with like the bull or the ram. They kind of just like do things without thinking all the way. It's a little more reactionary. So that could have been something that influenced the relationship. But with this willpower card, I just feel like, this is something for the long haul. I feel like you could be serious about this person, serious about this relationship. And also with Queen of Pentacles, we also see that, the Queen of Pentacles is about investment and also long-term investment. What else? Building more of a home, building more security. So again, we got the earth element here. But we also have a rabbit. And so the rabbit symbolizes, this gentleness and new beginnings. So I just feel like, this could be a new relationship for you. If it's not new, then it could be a start of a new cycle for you guys. Okay, so, and what I mean by start of a new cycle, it can be like where things were a certain way in the relationship or something. And then you kind of chose to let it go. And so you're able to kind of move forward in a different light. I definitely see growth here with the Six of Swords, because again, the Six of Swords is somebody who is moving along with their shadow self. Okay, they're not rejecting it. The shadow is in the boat. Their traumas, their whatever they're carrying is in the boat with them, and they're moving forward with it. Set on, just kind of with this Queen of Pentacles energy of like doing what they need to do. To get to the rainbow, to get to that security, to get to that happy place. So I definitely see people or a person, somebody here who is interested in like doing the work or doing what they need to do to show up and kind of build that stability for this relationship. Okay. But I also see somebody or people who are interested in financial security. So I feel like this could be where you're both, or one or both of you could be focusing on career, stability of career, or it could be that you're focused on, what your home life would look like together or something like that. But I also see somebody here kind of thinking about Four of Cups, thinking about what the potential for the two of you could be. Like, I don't know if you're thinking of going into business together or just in the long run, like, okay, what would financial security look like with this person, or what kind of household would you have? So yeah, okay, I see that in We also have the Sun card. I'll just say this really quick because it wanted me to say it. But the Sun card is about, this innocence, this playfulness, allowing the sun and happiness to kind of shine through. And this just reminds me of the rainbow I keep talking about, you guys, where Six of Swords is, moving forward. So I definitely feel like there's some releasing and healing here. And I feel like it's going to be uncomfortable. Like this Four of Cups that's showing up, I feel like it's uncomfortable. Like you might not want to do it. You might be annoyed or agitated at first about some of your interactions with the person or things like that. But like the more you sit and think about it, you're like, okay, I see where, I was a little impatient, or I see where I could have worded this differently, or I see where, you know what I mean? Or I see where I was comparing you to the past, or, So I just feel like to really help this relationship move forward and be lighter, it's important to just kind of pause and be a little bit more patient. I definitely feel like in terms of this, because this is a symbol of Taurus and Aries. Aries is a very passionate sign, a movement sign that just, moves forward with fire. And then we have Taurus, who is ruled by Venus, right? Which is, yes, they have a little bit more of a love for materials and appearances and living more of a life of luxury. So that can probably say something about the Queen of Pentacles, the financial security. Maybe that's what your person is like, or what they're focused on, or something like that. But I also feel like it could, if that's the case, that can hint at why there's a little bit of impatience, because you might want to have more passion on the table. I mean, maybe there is passion, but I just feel like, maybe you want that to be like the sole thing that you're experiencing and just all this happiness, joy, and all that. But then there's a certain point where you're like, oh, wait, we got to get back to work. We got to get out of our honeymoon or our little bubble and go back to work, get out there and build, right? So that could be something that's coming up. I do want to read this Impatience card really quick. My life is unfolding in divine timing. All delays are beneficial. I am always at the right place at the right time. All right. Okay. What else do we have here? I feel like the Sun card wanted to say something really quick. I do also feel like so even though this flag is red, for some reason I saw it like as white for a minute. And a white flag symbolizes, kind of calling a truce or whatever. So I feel like, there might be some things in this relationship that you might just kind of have to call a truce on, and just kind of not hammer into the ground, if that resonates with anyone. And just kind of, just be like, you know what, this isn't worth my energy. I hear you, I see you. Okay, thanks for sharing that. Instead of kind of doing like a back and forth thing. So yeah, I don't know in what way that'll resonate for you, but I definitely see like a white flag where it's just kind of like, okay, let's call it even. Okay, let's agree to disagree type of thing. All right. Okay, what else about this connection that needs to be heard? Okay, we got Four of Cups again, Nine of Cups. Okay, I sense a possible anxious attachment. Clarify. I also see like detaching. So really quickly, I'm being drawn to her phone sitting over here in the corner, and I've never actually paid attention to that before. And so I just feel like if you're in constant communication with this person, that might be nice and dandy, but I'm being drawn back to the Pentacles, okay? Work, getting stuff done. So I definitely feel like, if this person is at a distance, or if you're at a distance, it could have to deal with, other priorities. We do have Nine of Cups here, where she's very content with her situation. She's sitting, just with her cups full. She's confident, she's secure, she's got her stuff together, right? So with the Four of Cups, I just kind of feel like, a moment ago I just said I sensed a anxious attachment. So there's a message here about about not letting any kind of distance or priorities influence like your mental state. Okay, so with the Four of Cups, I kind of see like, maintaining some sort of control or balance, awareness, whatever word you want to use, but over the mental state, like having control over your mental state, having more willpower. Hello, still here at the back of the deck. So having more willpower over your mental state for this connection. And just to kind of connect the dots, what I was seeing about the phone is she's not on it, right? So so allowing a little bit of space or disconnect. Not disconnect, that doesn't sound right, but just a little bit more space or distance for other kinds of cups. Okay. And I feel this message coming through for somebody where, if you're in a relationship, that relationship typically kind of might soak up more of your time and attention or something. But if you have friends that you typically hang out with, or people you communicate with or something like that, they can become more of a priority. So as I'm looking at the Nine of Cups here, I'm just seeing like she has all these cups that are full, lined up, and I just see just kind of like, there isn't one cup bigger than the other, right? So I just kind of see a message about balancing out, making sure that you're nurturing all of your connections, if that is needed. Okay, let's do one more message here. Some positive. Let's do like a positive outlook for the connection. Positive future predictions. Ooh. Okay, Page of Swords. Let's do another positive future predictions for the connection. Positive future connect. Okay. Five of Wands here. Queen of Pentacles. Clarify this Five of Wands. I feel like you're going to be practicing. Yep. Okay, hold on. One more. Clarify Five of Wands. Contentment. Okay. And solitude. Okay, so before actually, I don't want to lose this message. So the first thing I got, positive future predictions. I can see you guys really kind of working with your differences, or working on communication, working on kind of doing things together. Okay. And the reason I say communications is because of the sword. So I definitely see that there's, thoughts and words are aligning. So there's this element of like, not keeping things to yourselves, and being a little bit more vocal about what you're trying to do, right? And so that way you guys can work a little bit better together. So I just see Page of Swords kind of coming through of like having an idea and sharing how that can work. So there's definitely an element for somebody here of like being a little bit more open-minded, because it's almost like you have one side of the like you have an idea and the other person has an idea, but it could be something you haven't thought of before. So it's like these different perspectives that are like, oh wow, that's cool that that came to you, something that you wouldn't have considered without that person saying it, right? So Page of Swords is coming through of like, a sign of communication for you guys that can be really helpful in like aligning goals. So I see the idea or communication around goal alignment, about some sort of a vision, but also about some sort of misalignment. I don't want to say conflict. I would say more of a misalignment that's kind of been like on your mind lately, or something that just kind of needed to get smoothed out. So I see that working well. There's an element about taking turns. So I don't know if you're somebody who normally texts first, and then you're waiting for, the person, or like if you're somebody who normally texts first, and then one day you're just like, well, why don't they ever text me first? Well, because it's probably because you're always texting them first. So I just feel like with Five of Wands, there's a message of taking turns, allowing them the opportunity to speak, allowing them the opportunity to share their ideas, allowing them the opportunity to initiate if you're always the one doing it. So yeah, there's an element here about balance here as well that looks pretty good. And with this growth of energy, I feel like you guys are, the differences between you are things that you can learn from each other, right? So if one person is more outspoken and the other person is more quiet, then you can learn from each other. Of like the one can learn to be a little bit more quieter and listen, and then one can be a little bit more like speak a little bit more. So with this growth of energy, I just feel like, yeah, with everything here, that there's this coming together of like learning from each other through modeling and just kind of elevating together and growing together and kind of getting things smoothed out. So to me, it looks really good. Okay. And we have contentment. I'll read this real quick before we wrap up your reading. Contentment. You can learn to rest in what you already have and already are. Suddenly you remember, I'm right here resting in God. So honestly, this is giving me a message of just kind of like gratitude. So, okay, Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles, wants stability. She wants stability. And, that's great. But with this contentment card, I feel like, and then I'm being drawn back to the impatience card earlier. So I feel like there's a message of like being happy with the progress you're making with the relationship, being happy with a little bit at a time, versus like focusing so much on the end goal. So yeah, and we've got solitude back here. I've looked at it a few times. It says, once you embrace the inner divine and your own sacred solitude, the right people arrive at the right time, exactly on schedule, without forcing or chasing. Okay, so that's another message about impatience. And also it's bringing back up anxious attachment that I was picking up on earlier, okay? So definitely I'd say a big theme here is just taking your time and going with the flow a little bit. Yeah. Anything else? There's a message of like, so these two cards are talking about, there's a message of chasing. So with the Queen of Pentacles wanting stability, but there's something she wants with the stability. So like if she's chasing a specific goal, okay, once she gets that goal, then she'll have another one and start chasing that as well. So it's going to be, or it'll seem like this endless chasing of something, right? So with this solitude and contentment, I want to bring your attention back really quickly about, gratitude and allowing things to arrive when they do, because if we're always chasing something and not pausing to be grateful for it, then it's like we're always chasing happiness, or we're always focusing on the next thing and not being present. Okay, so I feel like that was a message for somebody. All right, so that was your reading. If you're new to my channel, I do aftercare cards just in case there was information that was hard to swallow, and also if you wanted to add something to your self-care routine, you could. So let's see what you got. Oh, that. Okay, offline is my new luxury, y'all. Didn't I say something about the phone? Okay, so offline is my new luxury. This is your self-care card. Take 15 minutes to switch off all of your electronic devices like mobile phones, computers, and television. Use this time to reconnect with yourself and be unavailable to the rest of the world. You can also commit to develop this practice into a longer offline time every day. All right. Thank you for tuning into your reading. I wish you the best of luck on your journey and in your relationships. Take care.